We can restart.
Oh, restart that.
Yeah.
My bad.
And I'll introduce you. Yo, guys, what's going on? My name's Diego, one of your co-hosts here at the Inside Only Podcast. I got my boy Caleb here. We're having a little bit of a change of scenery here. We're actually at our house. And speaking of a change of scenery, we are actually one short because JJ is changing the scenery. And he is actually in Greece with his girlfriend right now. So wish we could be there, but we are still in Florida. But you got to love Florida, right? So nice warm weather. Rains pretty much every day.
Too warm.
Yeah.
Too warm.
Yeah, waiting for that cold to kick in. And then when it gets cold, we're like, hey, where's the summer?
And it's so funny because like the cold kicking in is like a solid 70 degrees. And you only get that like once a month.
And I'm someone, if it gets below 65, I'm like, dang, I'm in Antarctica. So, but yeah, so today I really want to dive on deep into just life, man. I think life is really one of those things where it is such a blessing, really. And I think a lot of times we don't particularly think of it that way because we wake up and we feel like we're obligated to wake up every day. So I think, at least on from my part, I think I've talked about this a few times in the podcast, but every single time I wake up, I actually love that because I'm like, wow, I get to take a breath. I get to literally look outside my window and see the earth. As weird as that sounds, it's one of those things where it's like, you literally could go to sleep and not wake up the next day. Yeah. So I think it's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, hey, I'm really in this bitch. Like I'm really in it. So, and I think, you know, at least from both of us personally, I think we've had tons of different experiences, whether they're good, bad, up, down, left, right, in and out. So, yeah, really excited to kind of dig on into that and kind of go from there. So, I guess we can kind of just start this off super deep. So actually, like 2 days ago, my aunt actually passed away. RIP. But it's one of those things where, especially in your friend group, family, and things like that, when those things do happen, I think you take a step back mentally and you're like, okay, you know, that happened. But when you take the time to actually think about it, it's one of those things where you're like, wow, life doesn't go on forever, you know, and it kind of, it really blindsided my family at least. But just death in general, I think, is one of those things where, in my opinion, I think it's both equally terrifying and equally beautiful. Because again, it is one of those reminders that, hey, we do have a limited time here on earth. It could be tomorrow. It could be 60 days from now, or it could be 60 years from now. So, like I said, one of those things where every single time you get to wake up, every single time you have a bad situation, good situation, I think you should really try to see the positive in all of that.
It really is scary how short life is. Cause like I'm only 25 and everyone's like, that's young. And I am young. I'm not disagreeing with you, but like, it scares me to think that about 30% of my life is done and it's over. It's terrifying.
I saw this tweet the other day where it said, imagine if life was like have you seen the movie Benjamin Button?
I have.
Okay.
Oh,
so, and it was like, imagine if you were born at 80 years old and your entire life you are counting down to zero. So you know exactly, quote unquote, when you would die, theoretically, right? And I sat there and I was like, whoa, that's a little crazy. But now, I mean, obviously it's the reverse of that. So like I said, literally it could be tomorrow. Who knows? I mean, a semi truck could literally just come busting through that front door. Who knows? Yeah. I mean, so, yeah, tell me one of your, I guess just in life in general. I know we've talked about different switches, both in business and life and things like that, but maybe if you want to go into, a few things or one thing that kind of really put life in perspective for you. Like, whoa, like I'm it kind of like one of those moments where you're like, ultra conscious and you're like, whoa, like I'm really alive. So like what was that for you?
That's tough. I'm gonna let you give me an experience first just so I can kind of piggyback off of it.
So I think I've had a few different experiences, but I guess on maybe a bigger level, I personally, obviously you do too, we love cars. So one thing for me, and again, this is just how my personal brain works, but every time I see a cool car, hear a cool car, whatever, it's one of those things where I'm like, whoa, that's really, really cool. Like, and I got to experience that. So I think it's really just a lot of cool experiences in general, whether it's cars, with my girlfriend, with you, with family, friends, business, whatever. I think it's one of those things where just things happen in general. It's just like, whoa, I got to experience that. That's really fucking cool. I think concerts and music really does that for me.
You're talking, okay. So you're talking about like experiences that help you like, wow, like life is fucking amazing.
It's like one of those things where
peak happiness life moment.
Like, so for instance, like when I'm at concerts, I am in a different universe, but I'm like, that's crazy that I'm even in this moment right now because it's happening literally before my eyes. So like, what is one of those moments for you where it was happening before you and it was like, holy shit, like,
definitely like, it was this one client we had with the supercars.
Oh yes.
And I remember like, it was like our first travel. The first time we like traveled with them, we like went out of town and like, they put us in like the best resort possible. literally drove Lamborghinis and Ferraris and like, you know, ate nice places, got nice drinks, like did a bunch of cool things. I'm like, this shit doesn't feel real to me.
Oh yeah.
And I remember like we were with this client for a while, and I like we could be months down the road, and I'm like, yo, like this shit just still doesn't feel real. Yeah. Like, that was like a peak moment where I'm like, this is life. Like this is like I'm living this shit right now. It's not a dream. It's real.
Yeah, and I remember you were
like,
talking to me about that too. You were like,
have I made it? Like, is this it? Like, it was insane, bro. And it's a really good that in concerts too. Like, especially because like we were talking about earlier, like Attila, one of our favorite bands. Well, I wouldn't say one of our favorites, but a good band we listened to growing up. And like getting to like listen to these people over and over and over and over, and then you finally see them live. It's like, this shit does not feel real to me.
Oh no, it's crazy.
It's insane, 'cause like, and like I normally don't like. We met Steve will do it. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Steve, but like when we met him in person, it felt so fucking insane. I'm like, dude, like I literally watch this guy almost every single day.
It's almost like when you watch a YouTube video that is like the highest possible quality, and you're like, it's almost too high quality
real,
to
bro. Like literally, it felt so weird. I literally forgot how to speak.
Oh, it was crazy when I saw him in person.
Video of that, bro.
Oh, dude, I know. When I saw him in person, my brain like. It was like, okay, he's there right in front of me, like 2 feet away from me, but he's not. Like it's real. Just, I was like, there's no way he's standing right in front of me. There's no way.
At first, it's like, oh, it feels like I've met him a million times, but then the second you go to open your mouth, you're like, oh shit.
Like literally. And I think back to the car thing too. Very surreal experience is when you're able to roll up into an extremely expensive, extremely nice hotel, and you rolling in with the boys, and you're like 5-6 supercars deep. You pull up and everybody stops no matter who it is, what they're doing. They're like, what is going on and who are they?
That is definitely the attention. But for me, mostly it was like, that has been a dream, not that experience with the cars and the hotel and, you know, they're all this nice shit. But for me, it was a dream like it literally felt like I was like, this is literally my dream. Like not just driving the cars, but like I'm literally getting paid really good money to go out of town in my favorite state in the United States of America, in my favorite car in the whole world, to hang out with my best friend, to stay in the nicest fucking hotel in Florida, and I'm literally getting paid to do this shit. Yeah. That's what like fucking, I was like, this shit is not real.
And I think that's even rolls back to some of the other things we've talked about too, where it's like, when you go all in and you focus and you do everything every day that makes you happy. Obviously, I understand you have to make money, you have to put food on the table, etc. But when you actually get to that point where your happiness literally pays for your life, bro, that is a completely different thing.
Like if you think you're happy now, like whether it's with a girl or you're fucking the food you're eating, the second you find happy, like that's what I tell everyone. It's like, oh, like how do you do this or this or this? It's like if you chase happiness, find a way to do what makes you passionate. Like find a way to work with your passion and make money from it. Because the second you're able to like, you know, get a paycheck from that, that's peak happiness.
Right. And I think
for me anyways.
No, for sure. And I think a lot of different things kind of roll into that. Right. So for me, I've worked at, you know, like PacSun, Tropical Smoothie, you know, stuff like that. And there were definitely times where I was like, oh, like I like this. This is fun. Right. Yeah. And I was happy. But then when you actually find that thing where it's like, okay, this is truly what I could see myself doing for the next 30 to 40 years, and you're actually doing it, and that in and of itself provides the food, the clothes, the rent, the whatever it is for you, it is so much different. Because when I was working at PacSun and Tropical Smoothie, it was one of those things like, you know, I know this isn't my end result, like not my end goal, you know, I'm happy here.
Scary when you get comfortable though.
Exactly, yes. And I think the big thing, especially about when you are always doing the things that make you happy, especially job-wise, right? When you're doing that thing that makes you happy, you don't put yourself in this box of like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, right? So let's just say you apply to a job and there's 10 different bullet points and say, okay, these are the 10 things you're doing. But when you find that job or that thing that makes you super, super happy, you don't even have a bullet list of what you're supposed to do. You're just like, I will constantly learn this and be the absolute best that I can be at this, because it's not a job anymore. It's literally, this is my life, and I have to continuously learn to put myself in that position. So I think for you too, like when I first met you, obviously you're doing video and photo and stuff like that. But I think when we kind of came together and we sat down and we were like, okay, how can we utilize both what makes you happy and what you're really good at? And the same for me, we kind of came together and we were like, okay, what can we do with this? And then it kind of blossomed and flourished into this thing where, you know, in my opinion, I think we were able to tap into things that
I couldn't have done alone.
No, yeah. And I think that's a really, really, really big thing. I think Dylan brought this up, but it was like, you can't do anything by yourself. You just really the self-made millionaire man or whatever, right? That was actually a really good point because I never particularly thought of it like that, like the self-made millionaire, billionaire, whatever. No
one does that by themselves.
Yeah, I don't really think there's anything such as self-made.
Maybe someone's not walking you through the entire process, but someone had to direct you into that process.
Influence you, motivate you, something to that degree. And I think when you think of it that way, right? I think when there's people that say, okay, 100% of the way I am self-made, I think you're being disrespectful and neglecting the people and the influences that actually helped you get there, right? Whether you consciously sought out a mentor or not, literally, I don't know, let's just say you're filming at a car show, right? And some random guy comes up to you and says something that completely changes your perspective on maybe how you do something, right? You didn't ask for that. You didn't look for it, but your brain is processing that. And it's like,
kind of like JJ, like he didn't have like a business partner or someone like kind of like walking him through and directing him, but like his mom was there, like the mental support and stuff like that. Like that's someone that's going to help you out for sure too.
Oh, for sure.
And goddamn, like this is, we'll tie this into the main subject as well. People that support you and like shit like that.
For sure.
I keep seeing these TikToks popping up, and this is something I'm having to like comprehend right now with the people I have in my life. But like, if they don't bring you, we've talked about this many times in different areas. That's a really nice watch.
Oh,
what is that? I don't.
It's
we'll talk later.
It's a Seiko. It was actually one of my first watches, so it's not like, oh my god, like whatever, but it has sentimental value to me.
That's beautiful.
It was one of my first quote unquote real watches, I guess. It's like $200-$300, but when you go from Casio and G-Shock, you're like, oh, I spent $300 on a watch instead of like 50 to 75. It's like, nice. Oh, cool.
We have a watch pod one day.
Oh, yeah.
I love watches.
I think you'll definitely be able to bring more to the table than I will.
Yeah, no, I do a lot of research. I study a lot of research. Keeping people in your life that if they're not benefiting you in some way and with positivity, then they should not be in your life. If you're not bringing value, this is something I talk to like when I'm always on, because I'm single right now, so I go on dates, like first dates and stuff. And the first thing that pops out of my mouth, or like within that first date, and I'm like, if you have nothing to bring to the table, then this is not going to work. Mm-hmm. Whether it's going to be mental support, and like you need to have a fucking job for one. Yeah, that is the most like job, a license, and a car. Like shouldn't have to ask for that, but in today's world, you have to ask for that.
Yeah, and I think it's all relative, right? Yeah. So like what you need out of someone else is different than what I need.
Absolutely.
Right? So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and so I'm a different guy.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's definitely one point to bring across too. Like there's no ABC method. It's more. Okay, love that.
So there's Kylo.
Oh yeah, we have a 4-legged friend here because we are shooting at our house. So
yeah, let's get Kylo. Go.
You want to say something for the pod? Here.
I don't want the camera.
Say hi. You want to say something? Here. That's a good piece of advice right there.
I got the noise gate on.
Sheesh.
What I want and what like that's if we were all looking for the same thing, we'd all be fucked because there's not the same girl on the planet and it's different.
Yeah.
But like I'm a different man for sure. But like I was saying, like if someone is not bringing positivity or any value to your life, if you're not bringing anything to the fucking table, then you can't sit at my table.
Yeah, and I think that brings up a good point too, because one thing I learned in my senior year of high school is I always thought that everybody had to be your friend or you were just being a dick to them, right? So, and that was actually the wrong way of thinking of things, because now what I explain to people and how my brain actually works is there's a very, very, very different distinguishing factor between these three different things. So acquaintances, friends, and like brothers, for instance, right? Or sisters, or however you want to classify that. But when I tell people, yeah, you're my business acquaintance or you're my life acquaintance or something like that, they get offended when I say that to them. And I'm like, you have to understand that you have a role in my life. You're not my life, if that makes sense, right? So I think when you put it that way, you're like, oh, okay, so this is my role that I play for this person, right? And everybody has a role in your life, right?
Yeah.
So like, obviously your mom and dad support you or do, whatever that looks like, right? Your friends do blank, your acquaintance, maybe your business acquaintances, okay, cool, he runs ads for me, or oh, I learned this from him, or oh, he's my mentor, or whatever that looks like, right? So I think being able to distinguish that, I think helps a lot in relationships as well, because then you don't sit there and feel like every single person you meet has to be your friend, because then that puts it at this expectation that you have in 10 years from now, what are you going to have? Like 5,000 friends that you have to keep on, trying to cultivate. That's not how that works. I remember
you've told the story, I think, in a couple podcasts now about how you were in school at this one point and you had this piece of paper and you put 30 friends on this list.
Yeah.
And there was only one person that would have been there for you through anything. And you're like, well, then goodbye 29.
Yeah.
And it's super important. I remember a few years ago, especially it was when I started to take my business more seriously. Mm-hmm. I was literally sleeping on a couch And I had a shit ton of friends. I knew everyone in the fucking town. They knew me through like what I did. And like, I was very good and big in the community because I was always trying to gain clients. And I was like super good, close friends with everyone. And I'm like, why? Like, and especially people I was living with, bro, like everyone doubted me. Yeah. Everyone fucking doubted me, bro. Like, I'll never forget, like, I would get all this camera gear and like, why the fuck are you spending money on that? Like, you're living on a, like, I would literally buy camera gear over a bed. I would. Yeah.
I mean, what, you spend, 10% of your day in a bed? Like, there's no, like,
it doesn't, like, I tell everyone, like, my room is a hotel to me. I'm there to sleep and get the fuck out. Yeah. I'm not in my room. Yeah. But like, I literally cut everyone off. It was to the point where like, I even knew Shane. I even cut Shane off for a little bit. Cause this is when I first met him. So we knew each other as like just acquaintances, but like I cut fucking like my mom. I cut everyone off, bro. It was just me. It was actually just me and one friend. And he was the one that was telling me how important, he was like, I do the same thing. He's like, it's literally just me and my wife. He's like, no one, he's like, if no one's supporting me and no one's going to push me and want me to do greater, if no one's going to motivate me, then I there's no point in having it. He's like, because this, like you said, everyone's priorities are different. Like, you know, you have a girlfriend, you have pets, like you have a family. Me personally, I don't really have family. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have pets. So like, I have nothing to think about and nothing to look for except my future. Well, obviously you look for your future, but especially business. Like literally up at 5 a.m. Like, how the fuck? Like, one, how am I going to get rich and how am I going to be happy doing it? Yeah, that's all I can fucking think about. So like, for me, like, I don't really need and want friends in my life that are not going to fucking, I don't want to fucking sit there and talk about a football game personally. Yeah. And especially because like how, like we were talking about how short life is. I'm 25. People in this generation, unless you're stupid or rich, you're not making it to 100 years old. You're not. Yeah. The shit I've eaten, the air that I'm breathing, bro, the fucking healthy Neo in my water right now, bro. Nah, dude, I'm not making it to fucking 100. Yeah. So like realistically, I'll probably make it to like 85, 90. So my 35% of my life is gone. Yeah. And I don't have a boat. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't, you know, like I don't know how to fucking retire yet. Yeah. Stuff like that. So like, this is extremely serious to me. So like,
and I think there's different focus points too, right? Yeah. And again, from my perspective, I don't think there's anything bad, particularly about.
And I want to point out, like in main focus, that I'm not saying it's okay to be like this, but it's not bad to be like this. You're not supposed to feel the way I feel about my future and what's happening in my career now. And so the people that are watching, maybe they do, maybe they don't, and it's okay. I'm just fucking stupid. So like, I don't want people to think that like this is okay, because honestly it's not, because like it keeps you up late at night and you get stressed out and you get depressed, and like all I could think about is my fucking future, and it's scary as fuck sometimes.
I mean, but it's a focus point, right? So put it this way, right? For instance, people like us will, you know, we'll have fun, we'll party every now and then, and when we earn it. That's a big thing that we do, when we have to earn it, right? So even like, oh, like I want to go to the mall. Okay, let me wait 2 weeks for me to like earn going there, right?
And it's not like just earning a paycheck. Like, okay, cool, like I've earned a paycheck with shooting with this client for a week, but like I did that last week too. I did it the week before.
Exactly, yeah.
So what am I gonna do? I need to get, okay, I want to buy
like
this,
a milestone.
I want to buy this fucking $1,000 pair of Off-Whites. Cool, I'm going to gain another client or something like that.
Yeah, like a milestone.
And that's something I always push you for, because like I'm not bad with spending money, but every check I'll take a little bit out, like 15% out, and I'll buy a little something nice. I'm like, yo, Diego, like, these shoes just dropped, bro. Like, why are you not getting these shoes? You've been talking about these Off-Whites for a minute, man. Go ahead and get them. You're like, no, I gotta earn it. And like, I definitely respect that a lot about you.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, right, it's like, sure, I could have 50 pairs of shoes if I wanted to, but at the end of the day, right, like, as long as I have some good kicks on my feet that get me to where I need to go, that's gonna set me up for like when I'm 40 years old, 35. Then at that point, sure, I'm gonna be like the cool middle-aged man that's rocking.
I have a horrible balance of wanting to be really well off financially and saving. Like, instead of spending fucking $100 on shoes, I could really put that in a Roth IRA or put it into the fucking stock market or put it to the side for a fucking house. But I don't.
But one thing that I forgot who said this, but my mindset has changed around like savings and things like that, right? So in my opinion, I still do want to be a millionaire. And that's something that I'm really working towards, like really, really hard. But at the same time, right, money doesn't make you who you are, right? I know plenty of people who make millions of dollars, not only per year, but per month. And there's two different types of people. Really, really awesome people that are influential, that do things for their community, and they're great people and they're nice. And then people who are just absolute dicks. Yeah. Like, just it's fucking horrible. So in my opinion, and I think when you put down the perspective of how much money is a lot of money, this also goes on your like your lifestyle, right? So for me, my ultimate goal is really to be making a constant stream of income anywhere between 30 to 50 grand a month, right? And I don't actually think people understand how much money $30,000 a month is.
That's a lot. That's
it's insane.
It's a good amount.
So I think that's 600,000 a year. Don't quote me on that.
I'm not good with big numbers.
Anyway,
but especially when it comes to money, you don't want to fuck up with money.
Yeah, but I think the thing is too, right? Always setting yourself up for happiness at the same time too, right? So just because you have, or just because you make $2 million a year doesn't mean you're happy, right? So I think at that point too, like, okay, if you say, hey, I'm comfortable with where I'm at right now, and I feel like I want to buy this because this will make me happy, or this is because I want this, do that. I generally do think if you work hard for your money, no matter if you make $2,000 a month, $20,000 or $20 million, right? I think as long as you keep it in check and you're still making sure, like, okay, if I take whatever $1,000 out here to do this, okay, maybe next month I'll save, or maybe next month I'll spend less, or whatever, right? But I definitely do think that life is one of those things that you should definitely live to the fullest at every point of your life, but doing it in a smart way. Like, no, if you make $5,000 a month, no, you shouldn't be spending $4,500 a month on everything else.
Yeah,
right.
No, I definitely need to work better on my. Like, I've gotten so much. Definitely gotten a lot better with where my balance was years ago.
Oh, for sure.
Holy shit! I'd pay my bills. I'm like, all right, cool. All rest of money, shit, like just buying. Especially when I was doing music. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But now it's gotten a lot better. But I have two concepts of it. One, you don't take your money with you to the grave. So
this is true.
Spend it, have fun, live life. Like, happiness is like buying a pair of shoes makes me happy. Shopping, like, that makes me happy. It doesn't work for everyone. Which I low key wish it didn't make me happy.
Yeah,
because I'll spend it.
Yeah.
Then there's also like, okay, like, why am I spending this money? Like, if I can, like, and I feel like I deserve it, I will.
Mm-hmm.
But if I should also have the concept of like, okay, well, do you own a house in Miami yet? No. Then why are you spending $20 on a shirt? Like, I know it's just $20, but like, eating out like every once a week. Eating, like we have one friend that used to literally eat out, still does, eats out every single day. That is like $10 to $15 a day.
Mm-hmm.
That is fucking $70 to $100 a week.
Yeah. And the thing is
That
too,
is
which is
insane.
actually really crazy, is I've had conversations with people before and say, okay, start with saving $20 a day.
And it could be something. It could be something. Not even that. Like a week.
No, but
that shit
adds
up a week.
The thing is, though, people will rather sit there and say, "Oh, I'm going to spend $500 on blank this month, but I don't want to save $500."
That's
It's a weird psychological thing.
I was having a conversation with JJ about it just a couple of days ago. We were at his gym, Iron Religion, badass gym, and then I low key finessed the gym down the street because my friend Jordan has an apartment there, and I just use their gym key to get in, and it's free.
Mm.
But going to his gym motivates me more because there's a lot of like big bodybuilders there, and everyone's in like better shape, and like just the whole atmosphere is really like on point. And it's literally just $30 a month. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, bro. He's like, literally just cut some things out of your life. I'm like, okay, what can I cut out? I usually get coffee literally once a day.
Yep.
That's $5 to $6, bro.
Yep.
$5 to $6 a week. I'm like,
and if you stop getting coffee for 1 week out of the month, boom, that's your monthly membership right there.
There's just so many unnecessary things that like I've spoiled. Like I'm sure a lot of people else do this as well, but like, Netflix. Do I need Netflix? No. Me personally, I don't watch much TV.
Yeah.
I don't need it. Like, eating out is the biggest one, bro. Eating out.
Food.
We literally ate out today.
Yeah,
we actually ate JJ's. There's just so many like minor expenses that are like unnecessary.
Yeah. But I also think too, it depends on your life.
Your
right?
life.
So,
yeah. And your goals. Like if you're happy and content, like, like right now I live in a house with like two of my best friends and I'm happy with it, but I'm not going to stay here forever.
Yeah, I think there are phases though, right? You're climbing the ladder. So eventually you're like, okay, cool. I want to have my own house in this city, or I want to have an apartment here, right? So, and again, I think that wraps around just to me too, because for me, yeah, I do want a house, obviously, because one day I want to have a family. But the way I think about it is I have a very hard time, like for instance, JJ, right? I know he likes the finer things. Shout out to JJ. But for me, right, I think it's one of those things where, to me, it would seem unnecessary to have that, because at the end of the day, I use my house to go to sleep, and that's more or less. He's a
very homebody. He like doesn't leave his home, especially because like it's really cool that he's gotten the restaurant and like his other like side hustle, well not side hustle, his other businesses and other sources of income, to the point where he can literally wake up, go to the gym, come home, doesn't have to lift a finger.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a different position though. So maybe like obviously when we get to that point, it's like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. And especially, I mean, he's like 32 now too.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're fucking in our 20s, man. Like,
but that's a big thing. I think especially for me, when I kind of made that friend transition and life transition, I actually started seeking out people that were older than me. Not, necessarily seeking out like 70, 80, 90-year-olds or anything like that, but just people that were in positions that I wanted to be in, right? And so I started hanging around more like 30, 35, 40-year-olds, people that were running businesses, people that were, had houses or cars that I wanted. And I just really talked to them, and utilize certain areas of their life as a kind of like a mentorship type of thing, asking them specific questions and things like that. But I think especially for people like us, we have this humongous, and I bet a lot of you guys do too, but this humongous pressure to be where other people are at.
I'm really bad with that.
And that is a huge thing. And that's something I pressure myself with every single day, but I have to calm myself down because it's one of the things where like, yeah, I'm 23. And for instance, like JJ, I look up to that man like he is the holy grail because
he doesn't give himself enough credit either.
He doesn't.
He's like, man, I'm like, but shut up. Like, I don't want you to sit back. Look at everything.
He is such a humble person too, especially for the position that he's in. And I think it's one of those things where, there's such this pressure I put on myself to be, for instance, in his shoes, right?
Yeah.
But he is literally 10 years ahead of me.
You're 22?
23.
23.
I think
about
like 9 to 10 years, right? And like 10 years is insane. That is such a vast amount of time.
10 years ago, you were fucking 15 and 13. God damn.
Yeah. And just think of it that way, right? Like 13 to 23. Insane. Like the growth from 13 to 23 was absolutely ludicrous, right?
The growth from a year ago.
So, no, literally, right? So like think of it this way, like, and again, it's like compounding interest, right? So it's like, okay, you put $100 in or whatever. It's like, okay, now it's 200, now it's 400, now it's 900, now it's 1500, right? Same thing with life, where life is really just a compounding thing as long as you're putting into it, right? So, okay, cool. What took you maybe 5, and we talk about this all the time with skill sets, right? Where, okay, let's say you do something for the first 5 years and you're a beginner and you're really finding the ropes. And then, okay, from year 5 to 7, you did double what you did from year 1 to 5, right? And then maybe what you'll do in those 2 years, you do in 12 months and then 6 months and then 3 months, right? So I think for this, it's one of those things where you're just constantly chugging and pushing. And, what we did in 3, 4, 5 years, by 30, there's pretty much no way that we wouldn't be able to be in a position that very much closer to what we want to see.
And something I think we're really fortunate to have is this mindset and the knowledge. Obviously not like knowledge and like what we do and shit, but like the knowledge of the mindset we have and stuff, like where we want to be. Cause like there's so many, even with happiness in life, bro. Cause like
it's hard, bro. It's really hard.
Like my dad, man, like I don't like talking about this too much, but like my dad is very miserable. He is very, very, very miserable. He hates his life. He's upset with his marriage, his career, he is so upset with everything. And I don't have any other shit with my dad, but like that is something that is on my mind heavily. And that's something that I think pushes me every day as well. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's really cool about our generation. I don't want to get off, I'll get onto that secondly. But I think we're very fortunate enough to have the mindset we have because, dude, there are people in their 40s and 50s, and Gary Vee preaches us all the time, like, you're never too old. Mm-hmm. He was 38 when he started his first business because he was helping his dad with his wine business.
Yeah, I think it was like 35.
Bro, and like there are people like, and I talk to my friends all the time about this, like, oh, like I so wish like I had the mindset you have, and like I like always happy. 1, I'm not always happy.
Yeah.
2, it's very stressful. 3, I'm not gonna say I got lucky, but like I knew I was. This is so cringy, but I knew I was destined for greatness. I knew I was not made to fucking fold t-shirts, to work in a restaurant, to do anything, like to work behind a desk.
And not saying in any way, shape, or form that we do not appreciate people that do that too, 100%. Right? 100%. And I think that's also a misconception, especially when you hear business owners and entrepreneurs talk, is you are this person that's above society. In my opinion, entrepreneurship isn't being above society. It's what you contribute to society.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing.
Exactly. Because, I mean, they're a 10 out of 10 person that we know works for at JJ's restaurant, and he's fucking amazing at what he does. I love that, and he is so happy with what he does as well. Like, he's really good at it. And there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing wrong with this. Just like me personally, in my shoes in my life, I know I was not made to do stuff like that. And I've literally had over dead ass, over 35 9-to-5 jobs. I've never stayed at one for over 3 months. Because it's not that I can't listen to authority. It's just like, you're
just put in this
we need
box.
you to smile. We need you to be happy. Like, dog,
I'm not a robot, dog.
I'm frying chicken.
Yeah.
Like, excuse me for wanting to kill myself right now. Like, it's just not for me, man. Like, like you tell me your mom's proud of you right now. Like, I don't know. But
God.
Like I said, we were very fortunate enough to have that mindset of what we want to do, where we want to go, and what makes us happy, and we can make income from it.
For sure.
At this age, because like like I said, like last night I'm up till like 5 a.m. like stressed. I'm like, I'm 25, bro. Like yes, 35% of my life is over, but like I've come this far and I'm 25. Just like we said, 10 years ago we were 15.
Yeah.
10 years ago I didn't have a fucking. I didn't
even know what the hell I was doing.
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. No.
Yeah. No.
I literally knew I was supposed to come home with good grades. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
That was 10 years ago, and like we have this mindset now. So like, fuck, I can't imagine we're gonna be.
I'm telling you, it compounds,
10 years from now,
man.
shit, bro.
It compounds.
If we think we're smart, we know what we're doing now. We're gonna look at it 10 years from now, doing a podcast
what
again. Like, look at these dumbass motherfuckers.
Yeah, literally. And I think one of those things too is just being able to appreciate the position that you're in, because I don't think enough people do that. I don't do that a lot of times.
That's what we're gonna
either.
get into next.
Yeah.
Some guy told me, I can't remember. I think I was in a church, literally doing like sound tech. Like I didn't even go to church, but like I had the sound tech this little gig, and I was like, fuck it, like I just gotta go in there and set up, just like we did today with all the podcast stuff. So I go in there, and he's like, are you happy in life? He was an old man too. It was this old, really nice black guy. I can't remember his name. He was like, are you happy in life? I was like, no, I'm not, man. He's like, do you enjoy your career? I was like, honestly, yes. I was like, because at the time, like I wanted to be like a traveling musician, and I was doing it for a little while, then I fell out of it. And I was like, he's like, but you got your foot in the door, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, well, for literally years, he's like, you were trying to get to the position you're in now, correct? And I was like, yeah. He's like, then why are you upset? I was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I'm not where I want to be. He's like, but you're in the right direction, and you know how to get there. You know what you want, right? And I was like, yeah. Enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. Steve Harvey says this a lot too. Enjoy the journey, because that's what sculpts you, and that's what gets you into this position of like being there now. Because like, okay, let's say we woke up tomorrow and we were a billionaire, not a millionaire, but a billionaire. What would you do? Obviously, you're gonna go spend some money, right? But you now have no drive to do, like, honestly,
because you didn't work to get there.
If I was a billionaire, I'd probably never pick up a camera again.
Oh yeah,
I don't think I would.
I wouldn't open my computer.
I wouldn't start another business.
Nope.
I wouldn't do anything.
That's the truth. That's true.
And I think that's what happens with like a lot of celebrities, like getting hooked on drugs, because like
they're just living the high the whole time.
You know, they do one thing and they're like, oh shit, I just made $8 million off a fucking movie. Like, well, shit, heroin, heroin, meth, like all these drugs, and like, you know, like, fuck, who said this? It was Steve actually in a podcast I heard last night. He's like, yeah, he's like, all the money is cool and shit. He's like, but we say it's a lot. He's like, more money, more problems. He's like, you have a shit ton of money, but he's like, no, you have a lot of problems. You have a lot of stress, and like now
like this almost this expectation, especially with internet personalities, right? There's this expectation of who you're supposed to be, and if you're not that, cancel.
Yeah, he mentioned he's like, I have all this money. He's like, I literally have nothing better to do but film me spending it.
Yeah, and I think that also brings a good perspective too, because even someone like him, obviously we respect him, we like his content and stuff like that, but he openly talks about a lot how he's very depressed.
Oh, he's very depressed.
And then, for instance, like Kike, he's not anywhere quote unquote near Steve will do it in regards to like monetary and cars and things like that, but that man is so happy, or at least from what we've seen, right? Yeah. So it's one of those things where, in my opinion, I think happiness is most of the equation, because that will help you get to where you want to go, because then you don't think about it so much. You're just like, okay, I really love doing this, so I will do anything to stay in this happiness mode, right? So I think, and again, I've told that story too, where I was like in the OR and I was working with the doctor and stuff like that in a surgery, and he's making $750,000 a year. He's gone through 3 divorces. He has 3 different sets of kids, and he hates his job. Jesus, and it's like, you're a well-renowned surgeon that makes almost $1 million a year. How could you be sad? And then it's like, then you have people that run a food truck, and they, make, let's say, 60, 80 grand a year, but they have really good family. They love their food truck, and they love to serve people, and they are so much happier. And
it goes to show you that money doesn't buy happiness.
Yeah.
And I'm like 50-50 on the fence, because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, all, like, like, I stress about bills sometimes. I'm like, fuck, like, like I got this huge bill coming up, or this or this, like expenses and all this shit. And I'm like, fuck, like, what do you mean? Like, if all this stuff was paid for, I think I'd be a lot happier. I don't think I'd be truly happy. Like, okay, like I said, if we woke up tomorrow billionaires, we'd never touch a camera again. But that is what brings my true source of happiness. Don't get me wrong. If I had a fucking SF90 Ferrari and a fucking yacht and a beautiful house and a girl.
I will say in regards to the little camera thing, right? I think the only thing that probably would change is you'd be a billionaire. But I think, in my opinion, I think you'd actually find, for you specifically, I think you would find more happiness because you can literally.
Now I can travel and film like
exactly. So that opens up the door for you though too, right? Exactly. So I think not every situation happens like that. I would
find ways to be creative still. I'd still be, picking it up and using it.
But at that point, can you imagine being able to, you could literally put out anything you wanted to, and you don't have to give a fuck.
If I could travel, I'd be filming, but it wouldn't be filming because we've talked about this before. I don't film for money. I film mostly for happiness, and money is just a cool tribute it brings. But being able to bring an income from what making me happy, that whole concept is the source of happiness right now in my life.
I think happiness has so much value, right? Bro. So like I said, if I let's say I hit a ceiling and I could only make $5,000 a month, but I was still doing what makes me happy, I'm happy, homie. Yeah. To me, honestly, I don't think that would really change much. If I was doing something I absolutely, for instance, if I had to stare at Excel spreadsheets all day and move numbers around and do addition and subtraction, but I made $1 million a year, I would be so upset. It would be insane.
Yeah, right. No, literally, if I
couldn't do it.
If I had a time machine and I could see myself in the future.
Oh, you tell me this all the time.
And this is very bold, and I'm going to say it online. If I had a time machine, I saw myself, and this is just me and my life and my goals, and what if I close my eyes, I'm like, okay, where do you see yourself in 20 years?
Caleb specific.
Caleb specific. I have to point that out a million times. If I saw myself with the little white picket house family, kids and a wife, and working at a desk, I'd shoot myself right now. I would rather be, Mac Miller says it in one of his songs. He's like, I'd fuck a 9 to 5. I'd rather be dead or in jail. Yeah. And that's just deep as fuck.
Yeah. And again, I don't want that to get misconstrued, right? Because I think a lot of people, when we talk this, right,
it's just not what I want.
Exactly. And it's all about perspective.
And I think it's big for me because so many people, not in just this industry, but people with these mindsets and goals, it's so easy to slack and then fall back, and that's what happens. And I wouldn't say I know a lot of people, a good friend of mine, fell off for a little bit and then he stopped. 2 people, one of them, he stopped. And now happy for them. And I know they're happy. They have kids and now they're married, and now they're just working a normal job, not a normal job, but just a big, a big adult job now. And that's just not for me, bro. If that happened to me, I'd be so upset with myself.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things too, right? Where the way that I view running companies and working with people, let's say obviously I founded companies and stuff before, but when I'm, let's say, the CEO of something, I don't continuously push that and press that. I truly, for me, I don't care about titles. I really don't care about that. The way that I run businesses and the way that I collaborate with people has always been the same. It is always that every single person in an organization and society has a specific responsibility. Yours might be bigger than mine. Mine might be bigger than yours. That doesn't necessarily make you less important, because you are a important factor to the overall goal and the equation, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If your dream is to be the best fucking, let's say you own a Target. You own the Target, and I'm stocking shelves, and if
I own the Target and I don't have you, how are people going to shop?
Not just that, but I'm happy. Let's say I'm happy. There are so many people, bro, that are just completely happy with doing that, and that's awesome.
No, exactly.
That's great. I don't really care what you do, as long as you're doing what you want to do. I'll be your biggest cheerleader. Not just you, but everyone in life. If you want to fucking, be a cashier at Goodwill and you're happy with it, and that's your goal, be the best person you can fucking be doing that shit, and I will cheer you on.
Literally.
I don't care what my fucking homies do. I just want to see them succeed.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest misconception, right? Because a lot of people, and I've personally experienced this with so many people that I know, is they get to this point where they're making a shit ton of money, and all of a sudden nobody wants anything to do with them except for what they can provide them with, whether that's traveling, cars, parties, whatever, right? And especially that puts you at such a big perspective, right? Because it's okay, I've made it to, making $1 million a year or whatever, but why am I lonely? Why do I not have anyone?
And that's where I think the happiness money doesn't buy happiness thing. Good, one, you're lonely as fuck. People don't no longer want to be in your life for the same reason anymore. Like Steve was saying, he's like, I literally have 2 true friends, my girlfriend and the guy I grew up with, and he doesn't want shit from me other than my friendship. He won't let me give him shit. He won't let me buy him shit. We go out to eat at a nice restaurant. He won't let me pay for his dinner. Because he's like, it's no longer that he's trying to prove it. He's like, I know that's what he wants. He's like, but he truly doesn't want shit from me. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
And I think that's such a big thing for me, especially because I can't even tell you how many people hit me up like, oh, dude, put me on. Oh, how do you do this?
Bro.
Oh, you're lucky. I'm like, I'm not, dude. Like, you literally didn't see me having to bounce to 7 different houses because I literally had nowhere to fucking sleep. Like, you didn't, like,
in
you
school,
weren't.
in school, when I'm like not hanging out at the, not talking to people, not having any friends, and I'm focusing and doing my own shit, you guys laughed at me.
Literally,
that was
dude,
the craziest
when
thing,
I started
bro.
pushing out stuff, like when Gary Vee was like, just document, and I started putting out cringy videos.
I wish I knew you and I was able to see that shit, because that shit would have been really cool. I know it's cringy, but like you're able to look at the stuff that made me cringe, like, you know, that's kind of cringy, but it's kind of badass, man.
No, but yeah, but in the moment, dude, I was so dedicated to I like I told you, I literally had people create accounts literally just to make fun of me. And I'm like, okay, first off, who's laughing now? Second off, you are the same people coming to me asking me to pick you up in the fucking Lambo.
Dude, the same people that bullied me are the same people. I don't shoot weddings and shit now, and I never will again. But the same people that bullied me, bro, are the same motherfuckers that have 2 kids with different baby daddies and asking me to shoot their weddings now.
Literally. And I'm like, and it's crazy because...
Or asking for something.
Yeah, and it's crazy because once you dedicate yourself to something in general, I think everybody needs to try that in their life at least once. Like, literally, it doesn't matter what it is. Go 110% unquestionably into something, because that will always reveal to you who actually will be your ride or die.
And it's just that, and it's just a good concept to have too. Like, put 100% into everything.
No matter what it is.
No matter what it is, bro.
Fucking mopping the house, bro.
Like I said,
put
like,
some music on and
you can
mop that.
And this is something I've done with, I'm gonna say all of them, but like all the jobs I've had in the past, I made sure I was the best one at it. So like even with Red Robin, when I was working, fuck that place. Damn, hearing those words. When I was working at Red Robin, like maybe 2 years ago now, I made sure I was the best fucking cook there. I made sure.
Yeah.
Because that shit stands out.
Well, put it this way, right? Like, if you do something, why would you not want to try to be the best at it?
Exactly. It's a good concept that if you're a janitor, make sure you're the best motherfucker to take a trash out. Make sure you're the best.
Literally.
That shit is, I don't know. I think it's just a good, it's not for them, it's for you.
Yeah, and I actually, like last week or 2 weeks ago, I was just talking to one of the garbage guys that were out there, like taking our trash and stuff. Bro, every time I see them, they got headphones in, they're jamming.
Dude, they're having the time of their lives.
They're having so much fun, dude.
I like, people used to look down at them. They make stupid money, and the benefits are insane. Oh yeah, bro.
Yeah,
insane.
And I talked to one of them once, and I was, he was like, "Yo, what's up, man?" I was like, "Yo, what's up, man?" And like I like fist bumped him or whatever. And he's like, "It's a beautiful fucking morning, my man." I was like, and it's crazy to me because someone that is literally going around 10, 20, 30 different neighborhoods taking out other people's garbage can say to me, to my face, "It is a beautiful morning." He's dancing around, throwing trash into the back of the thing. But people that are literally on top of, you know, their 3-story mansion out on the balcony or looking out at the fucking Red Sea or whatever, and they're like, "This shit's ass."
It's proof, man. That is pure proof. And that shit, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. And like I said, man, no matter what it is in life, always do your best. Like, again, I have days where I just look, I wake up, I look at the ceiling, I'm like, damn, I actually don't want to be doing this today. But I think everyone has those days, right? Yeah. But I think when you can appreciate those days, you can kind of look at it and be like, okay, you know, at the end of the day, yes, I am human. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people kind of neglect to a certain degree is, yeah, you got to rest, man. And that's one huge misconception that I had when I first started my entrepreneurial journey. If I'm not up for 72 hours a day, I'm not an entrepreneur.
That's something I still deal with.
Yeah. Well, because it's like you love it so much, you don't want to do anything other than that.
I'm just impatient, bro. Like, I'm ready to fucking be there. Like, why am I not there? And I beat myself up for it. I'm literally doing it as we speak. But like,
yeah,
I get pissed off, bro. Like, I'll be like laying in bed at like 2 a.m. Like, why the fuck am I here? Why am I doing this shit, bro?
Yeah.
Like, why? And it's like, it's not about the appearance of having the car and the house and the jewelry and shit, all that bullshit. It's not about the appearance, but I appreciate those things because they're goals of mine. Or like, a car makes me happy. Those are just big things to me, man. Like, I want those things.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I've also learned too is there's a difference between being snobby and like pushing your own agenda and just genuinely doing your own thing and pushing what you've created.
Exactly.
Really. I mean,
my favorite Supercar moment ever is when that kid with cancer came up to the car.
Oh yeah.
I literally cried the entire way home. This kid came up to the it was a green Lamborghini Urus I was in, and there was McLarens, Bugattis, fucking you name it, bro.
Pagani's, like
literally you name it, like $6 million worth car, like right next to me, and he comes up to the green Urus, and he's like, this is, and at first like everyone was walking up to the fucking car because it was like I was the only Urus there, and like everyone's walking up to the car, so this kid walks up and I'm just like, I don't even fucking pay attention to him. This is what hurts me the most. I was like, oh, like whatever. Like I'm in the car pretending I'm on the phone so people will fucking leave me alone. Damn, it fucking kills me. And he knocks on the window and I roll it down and I see him in a wheelchair and I'm like, oh, like I'll talk to him for a little bit. And he's like, this is my favorite car here. And he's like, how fast is it? And he's like, which one is it? I was like, it has the Huracan. He's like, oh, so it's like, 510 horsepower, this, suspension, like named everything. Could have told me the fucking voltage and the window regulator, man. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, do you want to hear it? And he's like, yeah. And bro, he turned the car on and I turned the car on and he started crying. And then I started fucking, you ever cry with like a straight face? You're just like, it's just, I was just fucking bawling. And then I was like, do you want to get in it? And he was in a wheelchair. So his parents helped him get in it and he revved it. And like, bro, that shit literally fucked me up so much. I was like, why the fuck am I doing? Why did I do that? It fucked me up. And then literally a couple of days later, he died.
Yeah.
I'm literally tearing up right now.
That shit fucked me up. Yeah, I have a very, very, very similar story. When I used to work out at the hospital, I was actually stationed in the peds unit. More specifically, like where the kids that had like cancer and stuff like that. And so I would like make my rounds and do their vitals and, like write on their sheets and stuff. I'll never forget this kid, man. I went up to him and I was talking to him and when I told you guys in the last podcast where I was like, you're never too old to learn and never too young to teach someone, I learned in 60 seconds something I'll never forget from this kid. So he had stage 3 brain cancer, I believe. And he's like 11 or 12. And I'm like, like that kind of sucks. But happiest kid you'll ever see, dude. And he told me straight up, he looked me in the face and I was like, man, like, how's everything going? Like, and so like you take on a certain persona, like when you're in that type of environment to be like, make sure you're taking care of them, make them, bubbly, that type of thing. Right. And he told me, he was like, you don't have to do that. I was like, do what? And he's like, I'm normal. Like I'm human. Like you don't just talk to me like regular. And I was like, I mean, I am. And he's like, no. Like don't. Cause like everyone looks at me the same way. He's like, everyone looks at me like I'm going to die. And he's like, fuck. And he's like, I know I'm going to die. I've already accepted that. I know that. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm sorry. Did I like offend you or anything? Like I was just trying to be nice. And he's like, no. He's like, I just want to let you know. Cause like you come in here a lot and like, this is like one of the first times we've actually had a conversation. And I just want to let you know that like, I just want people to treat me like a regular human being. And what he told me, he was like, look, I realized that I won't be here for much longer and I want the time that I have left to just be filled with happiness and memories. And that's all I want to remember. And so he's like, I color every day. I try to like run around like the hospital a little bit and like do what I can. But he's like, a lot of kids in my position wouldn't, be happy. And he's like, it definitely was hard in the beginning, but once you accept what the reality is, there's nothing you can do to stop it. So you might as well just kind of live to the, the fullest of your ability. And so that's what he told me. He was like, yeah, like, I realized that in less than 4 months, I'm going to die. And that's just what it is. And my parents are really sad about it. And I try to make sure they're happy at all times because I want them to remember me being happy no matter what happens. Long story short, 3 weeks later, he died. And I was really sad. And that shit hit me in the heart, man. But yeah, I think just really through all of these experiences, really at the end of the day, no matter whether it's, a kid with cancer or leukemia or whatever, that's 15 or some dude who's 35 or 40 or even 60, 70, whatever, who's making millions or even billions of dollars a year. It's all the same. Happiness across the board has always been proven to be one of those things that can change our life no matter what. Money, yes, but I think happiness, you have genuine control over that. And I think that's the difference between money and happiness, right? Is happiness is an internal thing. No one else can define that for you. No one else can take that from you if you don't let them.
And the second you give people the power to affect your emotions I think that's a very, I don't know, maybe I'm bold saying this, maybe I'm incorrect, maybe I'm being toxic, but like that's something you can control.
No, absolutely. I
the second you let someone control your emotions, you're weak. Maybe I'm being stupid right now, but
no, man. Like I said, I think it's one of those things. In my opinion, I don't know if weak would be the right word. It's more so. At the end of the day, you can control your emotions regardless. Obviously, I understand there's whatever, but
people pass away. You know, your girl breaks up with you. Like, be sad. It's okay. But like the second you allow someone to control your emotions, like whether someone being rude with you or someone being mean and nasty,
like you decide how to act in any situation.
You can be like, you know what, didn't like that,
but whatever,
it happened.
I mean, and that's what I've learned a lot of is, you know, shit happens all the time.
It's okay. It's normal for you to be like, fuck you, this, or cry or something like that. It's okay. But I think the second you're like, damn, that sucked.
And you let it go on.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
You let it go on, but like the second you're like, okay, that sucked. Next step in life. Like that, it's like people letting a football game control their entire day.
Oh.
That shit doesn't make any sense to me. Like, okay, that's the same thing. Like,
ruins their whole weekend.
Yeah, but why would you let someone, like, that is one day out of your entire life.
First off,
you let all those negative emotions consume your entire day.
Second off,
like, I haven't left the bed in days.
Like, I don't care if you're the number one fan on the planet for whatever team it is. At the end of the day, you don't control the players. No. You don't. So like, go into it thinking, okay, no matter what happens, I'm going to root for this team because they're my team. No matter what happens, whether they lose or win, it's just like, okay, whatever.
Keep in mind, we also don't really watch sports or care about sports.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those things where it's like, appreciate everything. That is just my life thing. Appreciate everything,
including the bad moments, man. I know we talked about it. I know it takes a very different mindset to, and I think this is weirdly the same people with this shit. When it comes to like negative things, like, okay, like a relationship, let's say, like, you know, I've only been in 2 relationships ever. My first relationship, absolute fucking mess, bro. I'm not getting the details, but like fucking horrible. I had to go to counseling for it. And like, it sucked, but I think it was an amazing opportunity for me to go into the next relationship. Like, hey, I know what I need. I know what I don't need. I know what I'm not going to put up with.
Exactly.
And I think it was, while it sucked, it was a great learning experience.
Oh, for sure. And I think overall, the just life in general is one of those things that as long as you're able to sit there and, again, appreciate literally everything, I think you'll be able to get through anything. Because there's plenty of things that make me, it would make, like 5 years ago, I would have punched 5 holes in the wall. Now it's literally just like, okay, you know what? I didn't like that, but in a week, that's not going to mean anything to me.
No.
Right? So it's like, take everything with a grain of salt. I definitely think, like I said, emotions are not a bad thing, but knowing how to control them and how to execute on them, I think is the biggest
and
part.
Use them, and this might be me being toxic again, but like, use them to push you. Like, I strive on haters. That's so cringy. I strive on haters. I strive on people. Someone asked me on Instagram the other day, said, what is your biggest push in life? Like, proving people wrong.
Oh, that is it, man. For sure.
Proving people wrong, or people saying like, you can't, you won't, like, oh, you can't do this shit. Like, that's crazy. I will. Watch me.
No, it's either proving people wrong or proving that they were right.
Exactly.
So no matter what, guys, life is one big ass journey. And I think it's one of those things that as long as you can find your happiness and be able to be a portion of society that is able to even influence just even the people like in your neighborhood, let's say, right? That holds importance.
That shit goes a long way, man. Like, that kid had no intentions of that experience changed my life.
Exactly.
That kid in the Lamborghini. And like, I think it is extremely important. Be good to everyone.
Absolutely.
It's good for you. It's good for them. That shit is literally contagious.
Oh, absolutely.
You're good to one person, they'll be good to the next, and that shit goes on forever.
Well, hey man, like I said, appreciate life, find your happiness, and you'll make it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us on the Inside Only podcast.
Peace. If you're watching on Spotify, please leave a rating. That shit goes forever. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know every time we post, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.